Welcome everyone to today's Ninja Skill Booster, all about hybrid working. Whew, what a hot topic hybrid working is these days. So many of our clients are having conversations with us around what's the right thing to do, what's the best thing to do. A huge topic, and I'm putting together some research on this that I'll be sharing with our community in the near future when I get around to it. But I'm getting there. But today's mostly about our personal hybrid working habits and skills and ninja tips. The first part of today is about our personal hybrid productivity. The second part of today's 30-minute session is more around leadership and teamwork, how to do that in hybrid working as well. So welcome everyone, such a pleasure to have you all here. I'd like to acknowledge the traditional custodians of the lands that I'm coming to you from, the Gurringai lands, the northern beaches of Sydney, and acknowledge the traditional custodians and their elders past, present, and emerging. So welcome everybody, and thank you to our traditional custodians. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Matt, and here are my contact details for you. I'm sure you've already got these, but you will get a follow-up email from me today with all the resources and everything and the recording from today's workshop. Please feel free to follow us on Facebook or Instagram. What we're doing now is the Ninja Skill Boosters that we do once a month are integrating, or the content's linking through as well to our Facebook and Instagram pages. So they're really good reminders as well. And you'll start recognizing stuff there, and in the Ninja Skill Boosters, it's a lovely way to keep everything consistent. So what we do at Think Productive, for those of you that don't know, is our vision is creating a work revolution where everyone loves Mondays. And this is what fires us up and gets us out of bed in the morning, supporting our ninja community to reduce stress, feel more fulfillment out of work, and therefore enjoy work and life more. This is all based on the book, How to Be a Productivity Ninja by Graham Alcott. Obviously, that was the starting point. Now we've gone deeper in our content into hybrid working and lots of other workshops that I'll share with you at the end of today's session. But this book changed my life in 2014 when I was a stressed out corporate person. And this made such a difference to my life. That's why I bought the business here in Australia, or I bought the rights to Graham's company, Think Productive, for Australia and New Zealand. And I'm a full-time ninja with a team of other ninjas that many of you would have met. So once again, thank you for joining us. Today we're covering these three main themes or topics: managing your personal hybrid productivity. So what can we do as individuals to help us work better in a hybrid space? The illusion of control. This is more for leaders and managers, but it's good for all of us to be aware of this. Even if we're not a leader or a manager, we have a leader or a manager potentially, so we can have some empathy for them, maybe share some of these ideas with them to support them as well. And delegation and trust, a very important part of hybrid working as well. So firstly, I should have defined hybrid working. We see this definition of hybrid being a combination of working from home and working in the office, maybe 2 days at home, 3 days in the office, or maybe fully at home. Some teams are working like that now, and only very occasionally going into the office. So that's kind of the playing field that we're on today as we think about these topics. Feel free to put any questions in the chat as we go. I can see the chat over here, so I'm welcome to communicate with the group as much as you like in there. So why is it important to focus on personal hybrid productivity? I know that's a big phrase. Why is it important? I'm going to share two realities just to set the scene, and then three tips as to how to help us with this. And then there's one bonus thought in this first section as well. So reality number one, we've all got way too much to do. It's a fact of life. We have all got so much to do, too much to do, and most of us are feeling overwhelmed with not only things we have to do, but also things we want to do. Often the things we want to do are filling up our lists as well. And we should have those on our lists, because our wants are sometimes even more important to our mental health or our state of mind than our shoulds as well. But we've got way too much to do. And if we try and do everything, it ruins our productivity. That's the bottom line. We can't do everything. So this reality number one, just to acknowledge we've got so much to do. Reality number two, we live in a very interruption heavy environment. We are so interrupted by technology, by our brains, by people. There's just so much going on. And the more we react or respond to those interruptions, the less we get done. We're jumping around from thing to thing. We then find ourselves multitasking. So that's happening. And I love the second bullet point here. The channels, I like to use the word we rather than you, the channels we use to do our jobs, because I'm in this as well. The channels we use to do our jobs are the channels that prevent us from doing our job. So what I mean by that is like things like Teams or Google Spaces, Slack, intranets that are more chat-based things. These channels that are part of our work are also causing the distractions. So we need to be managing them well. We need to be managing these distractions well. So just as we think about this reality number 2, I'd love to give you an opportunity just for a little bit of reflection and have a think, write down a few notes just for 1 minute here. What causes you the most distraction? What distracts you the most in your work? And what can you do about it? How and where can you manage these distractions? What can you do about that? I'll just give you 1 minute to reflect on this. Feel free to put some comments in the chat if you can, please. I'd love that. As to what are the distractions? I'd love to see what you've come up with there. I can see, Karen, you've put confusion in the chat there. Yeah, confusion's a term that we use in our Supercharge Your Team Comms workshop around all those different communication channels causing confusion because there's just too many ways to communicate. So thanks, Belinda. I'd love to see some more chats coming through there of what are the things that distract you. Emergencies, yes, alleged emergencies. I get more easily distracted when I'm overwhelmed. Absolutely, Jane. Make sure you change that to everyone rather than hosts and panelists where you're putting these comments. Thanks, everyone. Email notifications, other people, construction. Yeah, that's a tough one. Pinging notifications. So these notifications are something we've got control over. Yep, construction. And the interesting comment, when we're overwhelmed, that's when we start getting distracted. That is when we start multitasking. That is when we start getting more out of control. That's the time we really need to stop and take a few minutes to regroup. Yeah, fantastic comments there. Thanks, everyone. I'll keep moving because there's a lot to cover today. So it's good to have this reflection on what's causing me the distractions. What can I do about this? Let's get into the tips then for you. So how can we do this? What are our tips for our personal hybrid productivity? Such a big phrase, that one. Start your day with momentum. Make a list and be clear on your intentions. So to do this, many of you have seen our daily boot up or our daily checklist. I'll include this in the follow-up email. We're not going through this in detail today, but I'll include this in the follow-up email for you all. This checklist is a fantastic way to have a structured way of starting the day with momentum. It helps us create that list. It helps us set our intentions for the day. The top 5 priorities for the day are really important. So start our day with that boss thinking that many of you have heard us talk about before. Get clear on your desired outcomes for the day, your highest priorities. And then ninja stealth and camouflage. Make sure we are making space to get these things done and getting really clear on our priorities. So all part of this, that's just a general priority grid there, priority matrix, but make sure we're getting our day set up. Spend 5 or 10 minutes. If you can spend 10 minutes at the start of the day, just getting everything set, know what you're set up to do, we can get on with it. No matter whether we're working from home, working in the office, working in between. So yeah, thank you, Kerry, for that comment about the daily boot up. Look out for that in the follow-up email, everyone. Tip number 2, define your tasks into modes of working in terms of office and home. So start thinking about, what am I going to do in the office? What am I going to do when I'm working from home? They're different tasks, different types of things. So collaborative tasks for the office. So when we are in the office, think about, what do I need the team for? Where do we brainstorm? Where do I need to get other people's energy and input? Use the office for the other collaborative task for the office that I like is socializing. Like use the office when we're there, get social rather than just sit at our desk staring at the computer all day. And then do the solo tasks at home, the deep work, the things that we really need to focus on. Save those up if you can for tomorrow when you're working at home again or whatever it is. So that's our tip number 2 for hybrid working. Get clear on which task is good for which location. Tip number 3, create good, clear communication protocols with your team when working from home, manage expectations, and let them know when you're going offline to do deep work. So there's quite a lot in this one comment. It's all about communication. The most important thing here is clear communication protocols. So have an agreement with your team. In our Supercharge Your Team Comms workshop, we get together with teams or companies and we create communications manifestos. And the communication manifesto sets out things like, what are we using the different tools for? What are the expected response times? What do we do when something's urgent, for example? And the other important point in this tip number 3 is around letting people know when you're going offline. I love the idea of leaving loudly. Leaving loudly. Hey everyone, I'm offline for the next hour. If you desperately need me, send me an SMS, for example. That's if you choose to leave the phone on. Offline might be I'm completely not contactable. Might depend on your role, might depend on your responsibilities there. So there are our first sort of 3 tips around hybrid working. I'll just go back through those again for you. Oh, there's a lot of animations there, sorry, but start your day with momentum. Like get that clear list set up, define your tasks into what am I doing in the office, what am I doing at home, and then clear communication with the team. If you can, create that communications manifesto, even if it's not a fancy looking thing like this, even if it's just a few bullet points with the team so you know how to communicate with each other and what it all means. And the bonus tip, everyone knows the 80-20 rule, but the bonus tip here is around focus on impact, focus on the outcome, knowing that 20% of our effort produces 80% of our results. We've just got to make sure it's the right 20%. So the 80-20 rule came from Wilfredo Pareto in 1897, who noticed that in his garden, 80% of the output of the garden was coming, 80% of the peas were coming from 20% of the plants. So that's how the whole 80-20 thing started, by the way. But this is so important for our work, no matter where we're working, but definitely helps with hybrid working. So the second section of today's workshop or today's Ninja Skill Booster is around this idea of control. Control is a huge topic, particularly for managers and leaders when it's around how do I keep control of the team? How do I know what everyone's doing when we're working hybrid? There's a few people in the office, there's a few people working from home. How do I know what the team's really up to? So we've got to think about this spectrum of, if I'm the leader or the manager, how reactive versus proactive do I need to be? Many leaders and managers are slipping into reactive mode, slipping into checking up all the time and moving away from that proactivity. So we need to find the right space in here for us. Moving towards proactivity is definitely the way we want to be as a leader or a manager. Now I want to pause and read this comment from Jennifer because it looks good. We have a protocol at my work that you can block out busy time. If someone needs to talk to you, they can message you for urgent items via Teams if you're in busy mode. Yes, that's good. So you've got some agreements around this, but you have the right to respond that you're not available. Perfect, Jennifer. Thank you for sharing that. So yeah, having some agreements around this. One of the challenges managers have and teammates is, what if I can't see my teammates? How do I know they're working? Like, this is a big issue in hybrid for many people. It's a mindset piece here. Well, how do I know what's going on when I can't see people? The challenge I like to put here, or the little reality check I like to put here, is what if you could see them? In the old school, when we were all in the office together and it looked like a busy office, most managers and leaders felt, oh yeah, look at that, there's a buzz, it's all happening. How did you really know what was happening anyway? How did you really know they were working? So it's kind of like, okay, that's a nice little reality check. And presenteeism, Chrissy, thank you. Presenteeism is exactly what we used to face and potentially face today as well. So it's not a new thing. It's not a new thing that we may not really know what people are doing. So what do we do about this? When we're thinking about this control spectrum as well, from the left-hand side of tight control and micromanagement to the right-hand side of loose control, abandonment. We like to think about the Goldilocks control zone, just the right level of control. Now, this is a challenging space to find because the challenge in our teams is, and with our colleagues is, everyone's different. We're all different. We all want different levels of engagement with each other and different levels of engagement with our managers. So it really is about getting to know what people's preferences are and what people need and looking for what we call this level of Goldilocks control. The beautiful thing about presenting a concept like this to a team and to everyone here today, and thank you so much for coming, is that it can even give us a language that can create a conversation. We can start having conversations within our teams using this slide. You get the recording of this anyway, so you can always take a screenshot of this slide or something and just ask our team, ask our colleagues, ask our leaders or our managers, how do you feel about this? Do you feel that we're in the Goldilocks zone, or are we on one side or the other? Which side do you think we're on? So we can use these concepts and use this language to have a great conversation, bring it to life. Now, building trust. This comes up in our Leading Hybrid Teams workshop a lot, this concept of trust. Stephen Covey calls it the organizational lubricant, and he also refers to it as a tax or a dividend, which I really like. So how do we build trust with each other, with our colleagues, with our teams? One of the best ways to build trust is to really get to know each other. What are people good at? What do people like? Not just at work, like using people's interests and ambitions to help motivate, to help connect. So you can see this is our team from the UK office, and you can see that there's some really interesting comments here. No press inquiries for Lee. Who would have thought that Jess was a food blogger? Maybe none of us knew that Jess was a food blogger, but and Hayley loves Excel. So there we go. Once we really get to know these things, it can really help us know our team better. And this is how we start to build trust. When we're thinking about trust, we like to talk about this idea of the marble jar. Brene Brown talks about this in terms of every time we build trust, it's like we're putting a marble in the jar. And unfortunately, every time we do something that erodes trust, we take out a handful of marbles. So I'd love to call on the brain's trust here today, please. And I'd love you to put in the chat, please, some thoughts around how can we build trust? How can you build trust with your colleagues, with your manager, with your team if you're a manager? What can we do to get higher levels of trust in our team? Love to see the chat box light up with this. And for the recording, I'm going to read out some of these. Respect confidentiality, yes. Do what you say you will, nice one. Be consistent, compassion, balance between privacy and transparency, yes, thank you everyone. Transparency, there it is again. Be present, acts match words, yeah, make sure what you do what you say. Yeah. Be consistent, follow through, actually listen. Thanks, Cecilia, I love that. Coming back to that idea of being present, listen. And interestingly about listening in the hybrid world, I love this concept. Taking time to read people's communication, because so much communication is written now, written emails, written chats. Taking time to read people's communication is effective listening these days. Now this book, if I can find it here, just as a little aside, this book, Digital Body Language, that came from that book by Erica Dewan, just to reference Erica. Thank you, Erica. Digital Body Language. That's where that comes from. This idea of taking time to read things carefully is the same as good listening these days. I love that. So many more comments here. Praise people in public. Give the other. Feedback in private. Yeah, give feedback in private. Praise in public. Support. So many great ideas there. Thank you. Love this idea. So there's so many ways we can build trust, and we keep putting those marbles in the jar. Really good to be thinking about that. Another part of hybrid working is delegation. This is a really important topic because we can't see everyone. We need to be delegating. It's not always just delegating down. It might be delegating across, or it might be delegating back up. If we delegate more, and if we delegate based on outcomes rather than tasks, we start to create an organization of thinkers rather than an organization of doers. And this content that I'm about to share comes from our delegation workshop, Delegate Like a Ninja. some great thoughts around how to delegate better. Delegation frees up our time. With the growth mindset, it improves the skills and helps develop others. Delegation improves trust. It really does, because I am trusting you as I'm giving you this, sharing this outcome with you to deliver. It does build an organization of thinkers rather than doers. Really important. Little cartoon for a bit of fun. When I said you should improve security, I meant put a latch on the door. And there he is building a big stone wall. So I wanted to ask, what stops you from delegating? I know I'm getting you to do a lot of work this morning, but it's good. It keeps you engaged. I'd love you to put this in the chat. What stops you from delegating? For me, it's a lack of time sometimes. I think it's going to take longer to delegate than just to do it myself. Too much red tape from management. That's an interesting one. Thanks, Christina. Yeah, too much red tape. That's interesting. Often that's around role, responsibilities, and position descriptions, I guess. Quality of the work. Yeah, thanks, Molly. Conscious of others' workloads. Yes, Wendy. Could have been burnt in the past. Burnt with a capital B. Thanks, Luke. Small team with no one to delegate to usually. Yeah, Melody, that's one of the challenges. We can often think about delegating to other teams. I know that's often challenging. Easier to do it myself. Unrealistic timeframes. Yeah. Lack of trust, letting go, sometimes involves coaching and mentoring and not enough time. Yeah, great comments. Thank you. One of the key things with delegation is making sure we're clear. Be really clear with what we're delegating and what the boundaries are. Set some boundaries. I love this egg example. In the middle, within this boundary, when we're delegating, you can do whatever you want. Do what you think is the best decision. I support your decision. Go and do it. Once those decisions start moving into a different area, maybe a higher spend level or involving broader level of stakeholders, whatever it is, if you move into this area, check with me first and we'll agree what's going on. Check with me first, and don't go past here. Once we start going past this level of decision or this level of work, we're crossing over into boundaries that are not ours as a team to go into anyway. So providing clarity, having these discussions. Our delegation workshop is really powerful for this, and I'm pretty sure we've got a Ninja Skill Booster on delegation coming up. So have a think about what outcomes you can delegate. I don't need you to share this in the chat. Just have a think now. If you were to delegate something, what's an outcome you can delegate rather than just the task itself? So the outcome is the ultimate delivery, the ultimate deliverable. So just a minute to have a think. What are some of the outcomes you can delegate? Thanks, Katrina. All right, I'll keep moving because we will run out of time. You can always come back to your list of outcomes, even if you just write that heading, what outcomes can I delegate? Come back and have a think about that after. And then after we've delegated, the important thing is letting go. Once we've built the trust, we've got our Goldilocks control zone set up, let go. Let go. It's easier than checking up on everything. Let people do their work. That's a really important part of the process as well. So we've covered a lot of ground here already this morning. Our personal productivity, those 3 tips, and the bonus tip, the 80-20 rule, the illusion of control. How do we know what's going on when we can't see people? That's not just for managers, it's for teammates as well. Often there's a bit of frustration because I don't know what people are up to. Are they pulling their weight, if I can be blunt? And delegation and trust. So this can really help. Even if you're not in the space where you can delegate, you're in a space where you can definitely be thinking about those ideas of constantly building trust in the team, constantly putting marbles in that team marble jar. So as a result of today's session, just before we wrap up, and I do have a giveaway at the end, we always love to have a little giveaway for you, or a surprise gift. Personal reflection. What did you say? Outcome is the ultimate. Trust. Rebecca, good question. What I said was trust is the ultimate lubricant. Trust is the ultimate lubricant. So have a think now. What can you take out of this session today? I know it's been a short session. We're 25 minutes in. What can you do to improve your hybrid working or sustain your hybrid working? I want to give you one little bonus tip for working from home. I love this working from home tip. I'll give you two. One is because this came originally from our working from home workshop when COVID first hit us and we all started working from home. Have a fake commute. When you're working from home, have a commute. Even if that commute's just walking around the block. Or for some people, that commute's just making a coffee. But that's the intention is this is like my commute. I'm on my way to work. But have that commute at the start of the day and at the end of the day to help our brain get ready and to help our brain unwind at the end of the day. Maybe not a coffee at the end of the day. So have the commute. The commute's a really good idea. And something called enclothed cognition. Have some clothes that you only wear for work. And at the end of the day, you can take those clothes off and get back in your tracksuit pants or whatever it is, in your sloppy Joe in winter. Yeah, so have some clothes that you only wear for work. This helps us focus, but more importantly, this helps us actually leave the work behind at the end of the day. Now, I can see people putting lots of chats there. Thank you so much. I can see you've got some really good comments there about what you're actually going to do. I'll just wrap up now and share with you, we're really excited to have 6 new workshops in 2023. So excited about these new workshops. So if you've done a lot of our productivity training, done a lot of that, done the inbox to zero already, and you're all set up there, we can look at some of these other things: delegation, project management, influencing and persuading, coaching to empower. We need to talk. That's all around giving and receiving feedback, emotional intelligence. So get in touch with us if some of those topics seem interesting to you. We'd love to chat. We'd love to talk and support your organizations, support you, support your teams. And the giveaway for today, now this is not a race. I don't like to make this a race like the first 3 emails or something, because we don't want to add any stress, right? So you've got till midday. You've got till midday today to do this. Many of you have seen this giveaway before. 3 work fuels to give away. We do have these books to share with everyone. So 3 work fuel books. I will post you the book. All you need to do is send us an email, put in the topic or the subject, I need ninja energy. And really importantly today, because this reduces my workload, I'm delegating here, please include your postal address in the email. Then we don't have to go backwards and forwards asking you for your postal address. If you don't include your postal address, sorry, you'll be disqualified from the giveaway today. So email us there, I need ninja energy, and please include your postal address. Some of these comments are great that you've all taken from today. Thank you so much. Eat the frog, empower people with appropriate tasks. Make sure you take a break from the desk, e.g. hang out the washing, set offline times. Definitely do things at home. Definitely things to do at home or in the office. Yeah, setting up those tasks, whether it's a home or office task. Love hanging out the washing. Oh, thanks, Belinda. Lovely comment there. A lot of these comments, some of these comments are still going to hosts and panelists, by the way. You can change that to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for your lovely comments. Please get in touch if you have any questions or comments after today's session. We love to share our resources with you. We love to share as much as we can. Thank you so much for coming. I'm going to stop the recording now and stay on the line. If anyone has any questions or anything, I can always unmute you and we can chat. I'll just stop the recording now.